This time I'll be doing something a bit different. It's about these. When there was that closeout sale where I bought those leather jackets, I went back there like on the last day, 2 hours before the final closing, just out of curiosity to see what was left. And I noticed these, and for €1 I decided I'd buy these shoes. These are too small for me, and anyway I have never worn high heels like this. It's been 30 years since I last wore high heel shoes, and at the moment with my balance problems it would be really dangerous to put these on, even if these fit. But as I said, these are too small. These are size 37 and I have size 39 foot, so these don't fit me. But what I'm going to do with these is some experiments. Well, this one, it has this strap, it goes nicely here. This one has it sort of flops on this side, so it doesn't look very nice. This I'm going to paint one color all over, and then I'm going to try some decorations. So this is going to be just a decorative item. And this one, I have been thinking of making life-size shoes out of paper, lace, all sorts of different materials, and this is going to become a master for doing that sort of stuff. I actually have here some wallpaper paste and newspapers, so that's what I'm going to use for the first experiment. But the very first thing I need to do with this is cut off this upper, so I'm left with this sole entirely only. So the idea is that I'll have the sole, and then I have this. This is foam separating wax, and let's see, there's can you see what it says here? It says foam building paste is painted thinly onto original models and finished negative forms and polished before they are removed. This is an ideal separating method. So I'm going to cut off the upper, apply this to the sole, all sides of it, and then just cover the sides and bottom with the newspaper, enough layers to make it fairly sturdy, not too thick, but sturdy enough that it'll keep its form when removed. The idea is that this wax will make it easier to remove the paper covering from this sole once I've done it. But first we'll need to remove this, and I'm thinking of doing that with these. I usually use these for cutting thick plastics or metal sheet, but I think these should work also for this purpose, and we'll see what happens. I probably can't get close enough to the edge, so I'll just cut as much as I can with these and then use a knife to remove the remaining parts from this. Yeah, can't get very close. Let's see. Okay, there, so it leaves this much. Need to use a knife for that. rest of that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this part, because I'm thinking that I could first make one part with the sides and bottom and then use this insole to make the other part and then just combine those, so I'll get a hollow sole made of paper. Of course I could fill that with something. I'll need to think about that when I get there. I'll take it one step at a time. So first just removing this upper. Okay. It's not easy to cut any curved pieces with these. If it's flat and like if you cut this kind of curve, that's okay, but this is sort of three-dimensional curve, and cutting that would be, well, it would require different kind of tools. Now let's see, I'm curious as to what's in here. It's just 2 layers. This green or turquoise, whatever this color is, on the inside, and then I think this is fake leather, some sort of plastic on the outside, and that's all. I was thinking there would be more layers than 2. No, just the two layers. And then let's see, I have this, and maybe I don't want to start removing any layers from this sole, so that means I'm just going to cut along the edges if I can. But this, yeah, I think this is dull. Let's see if I can just replace it. Do I have? Yeah, there are. I wonder if this is new. Hope. One can hope. I don't remember. I think I have an extra blades somewhere. I'll need to check that, but hopefully this one is new and sharper. Let's see. Well, yeah, it seems to be a bit sharper, but it's still this isn't easy. And then of course I'll need to be careful that I don't cut my hand. So let's try it this way. Yeah, this seems to be working. I don't want to cut too deep into this pink part of the sole, but this is probably the safest way of doing this. Yeah, and it works. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just the problem of how to position this for cutting. Okay, that's, oh, yeah, I can get that off later. Okay, bit more. Yep, and a little bit more there. Okay, and then just removing that little piece. Yeah, I think this is going to be neat enough. And I'm thinking that once I put that wax in there, I'll just put enough of it to fill in all the spaces that are left in here, so that should help. And this part I'll either need to glue it in place or remove it. Not sure. Well, I could remove it. See, then we'll cut this. Yeah, go in twice. And it'll come off neatly. I did check this maker just in case. I thought that if these are some really expensive shoes, I maybe wouldn't want to do this, but it turns out that that trademark is registered to some Chinese company, so that means these aren't expensive. I think I saw somewhere there was a pair of shoes from this same company and they were like $15. So it's not like I'm cutting some expensive shoes into pieces. So that would be like, I don't know. These are mine. I can do what I want with these, but I'm not sure I could have done it if these had been something expensive. Let's see, should I? There's not sure what I should be doing with this. There's this some sort of padding making this softer, and it looks like it won't be easy to remove. And of course there's the thing that, does this pink go all the way here, or is it just the edges and then this front part? And it looks like, yeah, it looks like it's just this wide and then it stops here. So I think I'm going to take some hot glue, put it there and glue that in place. Now we'll just see what this says. Well, I don't remember what these lights mean. Really, this is like you see, it's cordless, so I have no idea if there's enough charge left in there. Maybe there is. This is green. I think that one is maybe the temperature, so that should change once this is hot enough. Well, we'll see. We'll need to wait for a little bit and see what happens. One thing I was thinking I could do is just take this, oh, this is buckle, yeah, buckle. I could remove this and keep it. You never know when it's going to be useful, so I could take these and just cut it and remove it. It's small buckle. I don't know, this could be nice for like a belt for a doll. It would be the right size. Yep. I'm keeping that. Okay, it's green, so it should be hot enough. So then we just put the glue here and press it in place. And here. Okay, some of it coming from under there. Just removing that. Okay, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to put all that wax on top of everything. I don't know what will happen. This sole, this looks like leather, I'm not quite sure, and I wonder what's gonna happen with that wax, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be using this only as a master for making soles from all sorts of materials. I've got some foil. I'm going to try that, and I'm thinking about maybe fabric. Use the sealer first to stiffen the fabric, and then cover this with the fabric and maybe then lace on top of that. Not quite sure. But the first thing I'm going to try is the newspaper. Basically covering this with newspaper all around and then removing it and then making this part and then gluing those two together and painting all of it. Although I was thinking that maybe I should cover this with newspaper, let it dry, then paint it so that it's on top of this, because the paint is going to make the paper a bit wet, and I'm wondering if the paper will sort of lose its shape during that. So maybe it's better to paint it while it's on this scaffold, so to say, and it should stay better in the shape. And anyway, this is so thin that I think I'll need lots of layers of paper here just to make sure that when it's removed the heel will keep its shape. But we'll see when I get so far. Right now I'll just need to put that wax on top of all of this. I hope this is still usable. It's been a while since I've been using this last. Let's see. And it stinks. I need a brush, because that's the best way of spreading this. Well, yeah, it seems okay. It's gonna work. So, just plenty of this on top of everything, and then after letting it dry a bit and then polishing it, and after that I can start with the newspaper and wallpaper paste, and we'll see what happens when I do that. But this should fill in all those cracks, so that should give me smooth enough edges for this thing. Okay, let's put it here like this, and then cover the other parts. I don't want to touch this wax, because it's probably not good for your skin. I mean, it's not super poisonous, I would think, but it's always best to avoid touching chemicals, especially ones that smell as nasty as this one does. Okay, and now we'll let that dry, and then it's time to polish it. And now I have some of that wax in my hands, because there was some of it in this lid. I'll need to clean that. But yeah, I'll continue once this is all dry and ready to be polished. Okay, it's time to polish this, and I'm not sure if the latex gloves are really needed, but I think they won't hurt. It's better to have some protection when handling this stuff. And this is part of the teddy fur lining for the leather jacket, and I thought this might be good for the purpose. And I have a bunch of these small pieces, so I might as well sacrifice one of them for this purpose. So then we'll just polish this. I think I probably put too much of this wax here, but that doesn't matter. It'll come off, and only the needed amount will remain. So first, just polishing it enough to remove all the extra wax, and then using another part of this piece to polish it better. And what happened to this sole here is that you can see where it's a bit worn. Those are darker parts, as the wax has sort of gotten into the material. I wasn't sure what would happen, but well, it's not ruined, so that's a good thing. But yeah, polishing this isn't exactly an easy thing. Yes. Okay, I think I learned one thing, and that's that there should be a lot less of that wax applied. I haven't used it very often, so I didn't really think about it. I mean, I think it's been some molds I have made for making doll shoes, soles for doll shoes. They weren't not the latex mold, but the ones I made with the red stuff. I don't really know what material that was. Let's see if we can polish this now with this clean part of the fur. And it doesn't really matter if it isn't quite smooth surface, because it's gonna be the inside of the structure. This wax is only here to make it easier to remove the paper once it has dried. I have made some things using the wallpaper paste and newspaper. Nothing quite like this. I'm really interested in seeing what will happen with this heel. I'm prepared for total disaster, sort of like not getting it out from inside the structure once I make it, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I'm hoping it will work, because I've been thinking about the fabric and lace and other materials, how I'm going to use those, and I was thinking that it would be probably a good idea to use the paper as the base. So first covering everything with the newspaper using the wallpaper paste, and then maybe painting it in single color, and then covering it with the fabric I'm going to use, or maybe the lace, or whatever it's going to be. So the paper would help keep the structure, and the paint would make it all even colored, so if the color shows through a bit, it wouldn't be that big of a problem. But we'll see. The first thing is to just make one piece that's entirely paper and paint it, and happens. I think that's smooth enough. And this piece here isn't quite straight. I tried to straighten it, but just couldn't do it. So it may cause some problems when I cover this all in paper and then try to remove that. But we'll see what happens at that point. I could try fixing it again, but I probably need some other tool for doing that. The one I was using didn't really work that well. Okay, but that's there. Now it's ready for covering it with the newspaper, and that's the next step. I decided to make this part as a time lapse because I knew it would take a long time to get everything in place. It's a bit messy, and just ensuring that everything goes nice and flat and all those layers on top of each other, it takes some time. And I'm not sure if you can see here, but I put the wallpaper paste on both sides of the paper because it makes it easier. You can be sure that it's in all the places it needs to be when the paper is basically soaked with the wallpaper paste. And I'm not quite sure how safe it is to handle this wallpaper paste with bare hands, because there was something added to it, something that prevents fungi in the wallpaper. So it's probably not the safest stuff to handle on bare hands, but probably not too dangerous. So this didn't go right as I was planning. I didn't count in the fact that when you use wallpaper paste with the paper it expands, and then when it dries it gets smaller, tighter around this sole, and it was way too tight to remove. So what I had to do was I just cut this from several places to get it off. Like it's here, it's cut all the way down there. So the next stage is going to be, I will be adding some paper on top of this with the inside empty. So hopefully it will keep its shape. While I do that, I'll need to be very careful not get it too wet. Just add some paper, get these edges exactly together, and put more paper on top of the places where I cut this, and then it should work. We'll see. And then I'm going to make this upper from paper also, but that's going to be easy to remove because there is nothing to really keep the paper stuck in this. It's just, I'm just going to use the wallpaper paste and make this surface out of paper, and when it's dry I can just pull it off. Here the problem was that this is a fairly complicated shape. If I had a latex mold it would be really easy. I could just use plaster to make a sole using a latex mold, but unfortunately I don't have any latex right now, so I would need to order some of that if I want to try it. And actually I'm thinking of it. I could order some latex to make latex mold and then maybe try to find something other than plaster. Plaster is going to be really heavy, so I could try something more lightweight, but I don't want anything too expensive. Some cheap lightweight material, so I'll need to do some searching to figure out what that would be. So here is the last part for this video. I decided to make this two-part video because this is going to take a bit of time to get everything done. So I drew the line here, this line, so I could cut these edges and fold them like this. And then in here, can you see this? I put some small pieces of ceramics inside the heel, and then just some glue on top and one larger piece on top of that. So that's weight, because I noticed that this heel, it was lifting up from the table, so it was like this at one point, and I'm not sure why it did turn like this. So it went down, so this was in correct position, but I'm not sure what will happen when I add the toe part here. So I decided it would be best to have some weight inside the heel, just to make sure the heel stays down, so it won't lift up when there's more weight here at the toe part. And here is the insole, which I'm going to now glue here. That's not going to be wallpaper, this is PVA glue, and this could become a problem at some point. This doesn't seem very stable. It tries to fall over here. I'll need to think about that. Well, I suppose when I put the toe part here, I can just add some weight on this edge if it starts looking like this isn't going to stay upright otherwise. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem. I'm just wondering, it feels fairly stable, so why doesn't this stay stable? This is flat, it doesn't look slanted, so well, I'll need to figure out that if it becomes a problem. But right now I'm just going to put glue here all around and then put that insole in place. There is of course the option of just filling in the entire thing, just putting something inside. I don't want to make this too heavy. I want it to be lightweight, so I'm not going to fill it at least this time. We'll see how this goes, and if it turns out to be a bad idea to have it all hollow, then the next one is going to have some filling, but right now I'm just putting glue here all around, well, quite a bit of it. It doesn't matter if it comes out a bit from between the insole and this edge, because I'll probably add some more paper to this seam to make it neater. Now this seems like it's a good idea to just every time you add something, just need to cut this somewhere, just do it, and then once you're finished, just add more newspaper on top of what's already there. It won't make this much heavier, and it's only going to become sturdier the more layers of paper there is. And now the only thing that might be a bit problematic is getting this exactly in the right place. So let's see. Now we'll see if the insole is the right size. And of course there's a problem, how am I going to keep this in place long enough to let it dry enough that it will stay. Yeah, this is, it looks like it's gonna need, yeah, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, here, this is masking tape, and the only problem is that this has fairly weak glue in it. I don't want to use the one that has stronger, because it's gonna stick too much. It's going to rip the paper if I use the one that has stronger glue. So let's see. There is of course the idea that yeah, I know. More adhesive tape, but this, we'll use this to secure this masking tape. I don't want to put this either straight on top of this, because once again, too strong glue. But this should work fairly well. We'll just put it from here and see, we'll put it here and then secure it like this. Hopefully it's gonna keep. I'll need to cut this. It extends over this edge, but that's not a problem. I'll just need to get this insole to stay in place, glue it in place, and then, like I said, I can put more paper, just cut anything that extends over the edges and then add more paper on top of everything. So then it's going to the result is going to be good enough, but here you can see that there is a difference in the shape. So that means I need to just reshape this a bit. see. Just pressing it here, and I think it's going to stay in place well enough, but this one is going to need quite a bit of paper on top of it, but yeah, this should be fine. Just well, a bit more work than I was expecting, but now the insole is in place and it's touching the glue edges. Well, it's not there, so let's just put one more piece here. It's going to stay in place. Okay, so that should keep it there. And now it's going to take at least a couple of hours for this to dry. And like I said, this is going to be a two-part video, so I think I'll end here for now, and then in the next one I'll continue from this point. It's going to be just cutting all the protruding parts here in the edges, adding some more paper, and then painting the entire thing, and then starting to plan how the final design is going to be, because right now we are only at the point that we're going to have a sole. I haven't even thought about what I'm going to make for the upper, and even whether this is going to be just painted, or maybe I'll paint it first and then put something on top of the paint, maybe lace or some decorations, or well, I'll need to check what I've got and then decide what I'm going to do with this. But for now we'll leave it here for the glue to dry and continue in the next video.